Welcome to the Root of Power podcast, where I teach you how to chase your joy, find alignment, and create a life and a business that you love, using actionable methods, interviews, and inspiring stories from people who know that true freedom is found within. I'm your host, your always hype woman and sometimes ass kicker, Amanda Chills, and I am so proud of you for choosing to step into your power. Come along, we've got dreams to build. Okay, my love, I have put everything that I offer for free on one page so that we are not doing more work than we have to, because why would we do that? Hashtag work smarter, not harder. So livemyhappyhealth.com/free. You are going to find everything I've created for not only leveling up in your personal life and building a life that you love, but leveling up in your business life and building a business that you love. Okay? livemyhappyhealth.com/free. Love you.
Welcome to welcome to this episode. I hope that you're well. I hope that you are thriving and that you have had just a really great laugh recently. Perhaps Kitty will join us. I did want to tell you about a new program that I am currently building that the waitlist is open for, and depending on when you're listening to this episode, may have already been launched. It launches in early 2024. You can sign up for the waitlist now. So the program is called Exhale and Release, and it is designed to shift your emotions in the moment, shift emotions, shift a perspective, basically to neutralize unpleasant emotions or turn them way, way, way down. Sometimes I can clear them completely. Sometimes they just become way, way, way more manageable. So think of they were at a 9 and either they're at a 0 or a 2 or 3. And it's delivered via private podcast feed. So you have access to me quite literally 24/7. I'm basically in your pocket. It's like a therapist in your pocket, back pocket therapist. And I'm marry my therapist life knowledge experience with rapid resolution therapy, an incredibly powerful tool for working at the subconscious level to clear emotional turmoil, essentially, is probably the easiest way to put it. So you can sign up for the waitlist or the program, again, depending on time, at exhaleandrelease.com. There are 2 tracks. One is for first responders. One is a general healing track. So if you're not a first responder, you would go with the healing track. If you're a first responder, you actually get both. So yeah, I so hope to see you in there, and it was so fun. So exhaleandrelease.com is where you find that. And I had a client say something pretty interesting a few weeks ago. It does come up kind of periodically when we're talking about doing gratitude work and being intentional with gratitude. And they were saying that it just felt so forced. They're like, I've tried it before. I never stuck with it. I could never stick with it. It just doesn't work for me. And I'm like, well, it works for everyone, just depending on how you're using it may or may not work for you. But gratitude has been shown to rewire the brain for more positivity, more emotional resilience, things like that. So it does work, but perhaps the way that they were doing it was not working for them, which is a separate thing. So I was telling a client today, actually, that the process for improving, if you have diabetes type 2, then food, changing your diet and exercising does work to lower your risk for diabetes, to heal your system. But the way that people go about that can go about it multiple ways. Some people choose a medication, some people choose insulin, some people choose keto, some people choose low carb, some people choose a Mediterranean diet. There's multiple ways to accomplish a thing, but the thing does work. So gratitude is the same, right? Research shows that it's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly useful. And the way that most people do it is not very helpful. Or it creates a lot of resistance and problems. So I was like, okay, really, what are the problems? So I put a question box up on Instagram, and I was like, if you tried a gratitude practice and it didn't really work for you, what did you feel? And the vast majority of people said that it felt forced. They responded and said it felt like something I should be doing. It felt like another fucking thing on my to-do list. It felt like another thing to add to my routine. It just felt like a rule, like I had to do it. I had to do it in a certain way. And I think actually the problem is the way that most people are taught to do a gratitude list, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And I had one client tell me, and this is something I've heard from multiple, so they were in a very fundamentalist religion, like a very, very strict, the type that's like eat, be sweet and pray, or I think was the title of the Netflix documentary. They responded that it was used as a weapon to keep them in an abusive marriage. And that is something that I see often in terms of like dealing with people who were in a cult or who experienced significant religious trauma. Because in those circles, understand not every religious circle, but in like cult circles, the narrative is, I had one client put it as every time their partner beat them, that it was just another jewel in their crown when they get to heaven. You can understand how fucked up that is. And there's also the narrative in those environments of, oh, well, be grateful it's not worse. Well, they provide for you an XYZ and your job is to submit. So obviously you're not submitting well enough or this wouldn't be happening. So be grateful that they're providing for you and be grateful enough that you submit. So it's like incredibly toxic, abusive, coercive, horrible tool that was used to keep them in incredibly abusive situations, which is obviously horrible. So their relationship to a gratitude practice was like almost like throwing up. They were like viscerally, it was just such a hard no. And I was like, okay, like fine. But if it's something that calls to them and they want to rewire that, then I think we have found a good way. So it makes me really sad that so many people I work with have had this aversion to a gratitude practice. And I don't think it's them. I think the way they were doing it was not helpful. Now, there are lots of people who do a daily gratitude list and they love it. I'm someone who does a daily gratitude list and it works well for me. I've also done it for a really long time. So like, I don't have any mental resistance around it. I'm very good now at identifying things that I'm grateful for or that I appreciate about my life or that are really great in my life. But I've also done this for a really long time. So when I'm helping clients, like when I'm teaching clients with this, then the way that we rewire that is finding out like, one, we don't have to, but we undo some belief systems that they've had. And one of them is that there's one way to do a gratitude practice and it's the right way. And the right way is to list 3 to 5 things every single morning that you're grateful for as soon as you wake up. And it's like, that's not true. Like, it doesn't have to be done that way. It's a way. Well, there's more than one way to put your pants on. Like, okay, so there's not just one way. There's multiple ways to cook a steak. Now, people may argue, oh, this is the best way or this is the best way, but like, whatever way is the best way depends on you. So you're always the person deciding what the best way is for you. And so there's that. And, undoing the rules, quote unquote, that they were taught around what it should look like, is one of the things. So if you're like, I do it when I think about it, and sometimes I think about it and sometimes I don't, then awesome. One is more than none. So that's cool. And it'll be, more over time as it occurs to you more often. And if you write it down, then great. And if you don't want to write it down, then great. And if you keep a notes app in your phone, awesome. And if you have a journal, awesome. And if you just go throughout your life noticing and appreciating things that you're grateful for, then awesome. There's just really do it in whatever way works for you. So here are the things I suggest. Do it in the way that your mind works. For example, I like to write. I like to journal. It's a thing that I like to do. So then it makes sense that I would just add it to the journal prompt that I do Monday through Friday. And that's a very simple journal prompt. You can literally download it. It's linked in the show notes. But it's not like I'm getting deep in journaling. It's more so like, what are my intentions and, a little process. And then what am I doing that day? And then what am I grateful for? So do it the way that your mind works. If there's a ton of resistance to it, just find another way to do it. It's not like, let's not work harder if we don't have to. Let's just do it the way that our mind works. Where most people, I think, where I see most people struggle is that after they name the big things, they kind of run out of things, right? So people will be like, oh, that I woke up today, or my job, or my family, or my partner, or my kids. But then those are the big things. Those are the easy things to name. And then they're like, oh shit, what do I say after that? And so then the trick is to get smaller and smaller and smaller until it's something like the way sunlight falls through my window in the afternoon. The fact that my cat, oh my gosh, my cat loves to press his forehead into my arm. That I get to play fetch with my dog basically whenever I want. That Paco, my parents' little dog, whose only dream in life is to sit in people's laps during therapy sessions, or really any time, but he does it during therapy sessions. When it's cold, clients will naturally kind of wrap him up like a babushka. And so I call fall and winter babushka season. And it's so funny. Like, I'm so glad that Paco exists. And the fact that I run a practice out of the farm. And so the smaller you get, the more you start noticing all the wonderful, endless little things in your life that you're grateful for, because the smaller you get, the more you zoom in, the more you're going to find. So get smaller. It's like, if you guys have heard one of the trends, which is like, notice the glimmers, same thing. Like, if you've ever seen like dust kind of dance in sunlight, then glimmers. So notice the glimmers in your life when life is really beautiful, and you can just stop and notice them and say like, yeah, that, this, yes, this, yes, this, and this, and this, yes, this. And then you start noticing that your life is so filled with wonderful things. And then ta-da, there's a gratitude practice. So there's those. Something I've been playing with that combines kind of gratitude and manifesting is, I'm calling it future casting gratitude. So I am saying I'm grateful for things that I want to happen. So for example, I'm going to be building a house soon, and you got to get, unless you're going to pay cash, but I have to get a mortgage in order to build the house. So one of the things that I have continually said that I'm grateful for is, I'm so glad that I got such a good rate on the mortgage. I'm so glad I got such a good rate on the mortgage. I'm so glad that the project is on time and under budget. I'm so glad oh God, jeez. Oh my God, Kitty just tried to jump up on me and scratch the crap out of me. So future casting is putting things I want in the future as if they have already happened, or as if they're currently happening. I'm so glad the build is going so well. I'm so glad I'm finding the perfect furniture pieces. I'm so glad I'm getting a discount on so many things. So future casting has been pretty fun because it combines gratitude with manifesting. And in fact, manifesting is like accelerated when you're in a space of gratitude. And they'll tell you it's because you vibrate at a different frequency. But I like to also think whatever intention you set is the thing that comes true, because subconscious always guides us towards our intentions. That is a thing. So future casting, if that is something that calls to you, I would play around with it. So what is it that you're wanting, working towards, and can you put it in present or past tense? I'm so glad I got that job that I really, really love. I'm so glad that my partner thinks I'm the cutest and funniest thing on the planet, which he should. And if he doesn't, but he does. So it's like, not, yeah. I'm so glad that XYZ, whatever thing that you're wanting, you can try future casting. The other thing is like to know it's a practice, right? So a lot of people will be like, oh, well, what if I don't do it every day? And it's like, okay, don't. Like, oh, now you want to be a sweet boy, kitty? It's like, okay, don't do it every day. Like that's fine. You know, we're in this for the long haul. So like if sometimes you do it and sometimes you don't, and you go through seasons where you do it daily and you go through seasons where you don't, then like, okay, that seems fine. Like that seems fine. That seems like a fine thing to do. So, you know, let's release any like rules that you may have created around any kind of practice and understand that like consistency doesn't mean daily. It's not the same thing. You can be consistent with something, but not do it daily, and it's still consistent. So some phrases that I've been playing with and that clients have been playing with. If your intention is to just notice glimmers, which by the way is a gratitude practice. So if your intention is to like do that, then something I remind myself of all the time is like, these are the good old days. These right now are the good old days. This really is my life. Like, damn, this really is my life. What a time to be alive. There's a line in Hamilton that says, look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. And I really like that. And there are, you know, many moments where I don't feel that, but there are many moments where I do. Like medieval peasants didn't have Wi-Fi. So that's pretty nice. Like, you know, pretty dope that we have Wi-Fi. Yes, we also have lots of other things that are problematic, but like medieval peasants did not have Wi-Fi. That's cool. We enjoy that. And they also didn't have cars. So both are pretty dope. Or like, you know, doctors who knew many things. Although Middle Eastern doctors at the time were the most advanced. So the Middle East had good doctors and Europe did not. They did not. But the point is, there are, what a time to be alive. There's so many things to be excited about and grateful for. My friend, I think Jess does this one. She says, this is happening now. Like this is really happening now. And it, whatever just anchors you in the moment to notice and appreciate things that are going well or beautiful or that you're just grateful for. So I hope that this shifted some things for you and retuned some things for you, and that you move forward noticing and appreciating when life is good. Because that's the gratitude practice. That's it. It doesn't have to look any which way. That's the crux of it. And if you were interested in exhale and release, then that website again is exhaleandrelease.com. I would be very grateful if you would check it out and, you know, decide if it's for you. And if not, say la vie. Great. Okay, great. I hope that you have the most wonderful day and you find so many things throughout the day that you're like, this is nice, and this is nice, and this is nice, and so many lovely, beautiful, wonderful things. So, okay. Bye.